Hi there folks, Gareth here from tracyandmatt.co.uk, and today I'm going to have, or attempt to have a look at this big box of Canon-ness. This is the Maxify iB4050. It's cheap as chips. It usually retails for about £150, however Ebuyer, I think it's currently listed at about £89 on there. Which is fantastic. I think PC World and Curry's currently have it at £99, but £89 from Ebuyer. They sent this over to me to have a quick look at because it's exceptionally good value. It's got a whole rake of stuff in it. Now I have a couple of printers in the house already, so I'm hoping to check and see just how well this compares to those other ones. I have a large HP Office Jet, which was quite an expensive printer, and then I have another smaller version of this, a Canon all-in-one, so I can't remember what that is, a Pixma or something like that, which the wifey uses, but this one has a 500 sheet storage capacity, 30,000 duty cycles, which is always handy, high page yield, which is good, I guess, enough to brag about, connectivity for networks, auto two-sided print, 23 black and 15. Yeah, I'm sure those mean something to someone out there. It has, obviously because this is an internet printer, you can use OneDrive, Dropbox, Evernote and Google Drive, so it'll have apps in it to allow you to use it. On the top it shows here wirelessly print from computer, tablet and phone. You can get your application from Canon or from the App Store or Marketplace here, Google Play or whatever. It also includes some ink. There's 4 different tanks that come with it, standard and extra large as well, which are handy. USB cable not included, it states here, in various languages. Premium business printer with cloud connectivity. Alright. Some of the other little bits and pieces here are that it shows that there's a fine option there. AirPrint, Google Cloud Print Ready, Wi-Fi certified, and Energy Star rating. Okay, let's open her up and see what's inside. Okay, so we're obviously not going to look down into the box because that's just a bit impractical. We have a sloped ceiling here. First things first, we have a box with a code on it. Standard cardboardy box. And inside here we have the ink. These are the standard ones, aren't they? That we learned from the side of the case. Yes, it says 250Y. There would be, underneath that there would be an XL. And there's a QR code there as well. So we should have 4. Oh, there's a large one for the black, I'm guessing, because black is the most used. It doesn't say XL on it either. Okay, so that's the 4 ink cartridges. They're always handy. Inside we have a quick setup guide as to how to open her up, do stuff with it. It's fairly standard. We have another one, which is, what's this for? It does appear to be the same thing. Oh, right, we have different languages at the top here. So this one has more languages. English is on this one. Okay. We have a 3-pin printer with a figure 8 connector. An old-fashioned driver CD. Don't get to see those very often. Don't really use them very often because Windows usually picks these Canons and popular printers up quite easily. This is in English. Where? Am I just missing it? Do not remove ink tank until a new one has been is prepared to be installed. Once you remove the ink tank, the printer will not operate. even if the removed tank has to be reinstalled. Okay. European warranty and safety information. Right. Well, we'll keep these things out because we're going to attempt to fit them to it. We have some couple of pieces of polystyrene, and then the printer itself, which is a lot bigger than I actually expected it to be. Okay, so that's a big chunk of plastic, right? That's what, about a foot tall, roughly, maybe about 2 feet wide. It's not a bad looking printer. I've seen a lot worse, although it does look like there's a lack of finish here with the drawers, like there's a cover missing. It does look a wee bit like there's a cover missing, actually. 1 and 2 for print trays 1 and 2. Okay, so we'll start de-oranging tape, or taking the orange tape off. That must be where the ink tanks go in. And a lump of plastic that holds the print heads in place during transit, so I can come out and be chucked away. So that's where the ink tanks go, inside. They're sort of stored over to the side here. Obviously whenever we plug it in, it'll move into the center and we can just place the ink tanks in there. So we have drawers here for the paper. It'll do the job, but it's fairly flimsy plastic. I wouldn't go dropping this too often, but I can't imagine you taking it out of the printer terribly often. Guides there to be able to push the paper together and resize for photo paper and that kind of thing. It says there A4 letter B5 A5 2L. Easy enough to go back in. Take the other one out. Doesn't have as many imprints on it. What does it say though? Well, there's still the same clicks, they just haven't printed what sizes they are. So I guess you would have to just check the other one and maybe guess. Although that doesn't stretch quite as far in, so this is more for A4 paper. Yeah, so you'll be printing photographs from tray 1, and then larger photographs, 10 by 8 or whatever, from tray 2. Up here we have a little LCD screen. We can get this a little closer. You can see there's a power button. Must be either, that's probably cancel actually. Then there's an OK there, left and right. Selector, there must be a menu under here. And there's color coordinate over there, return, and a maintenance button. And here we have a little LED for power. Well, I don't see an LED for network connection, maybe it doesn't feature one. Say whether or not it has been connected to the network or not. So on the side, nothing. There's a hint of where it was created there. Around the other side, nothing. On the back. Okay, so we have a couple of ports here. There is Well, that's kind of nice actually. An Ethernet port there and a USB. Ethernet USB. Here we have that configure it. Power cable. There's another piece of orange plastic here to remove. That must be for the rollers, to keep the rollers in place. And that's about it in there. That's where you'll spend your time if you have a paper jam, I'm guessing. There's an arrow pointing to the left here, just so you know that there's a hole here that you can put your finger in if you fancy. There's one on this side as well. I don't know why it's not pointing to the right, saying you can put your finger in there too. Yeah. Other than that, there's nothing too spectacular around here to report on. It seems to be fairly simplistic. On the bottom, rubber feet. 6 rubber feet. Don't think there's any moving parts. Obviously that's the bottom of the bottom tray. That's the power supply there. Nothing up in here and any of these things. It's fairly standard down there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to hook it up to Wi-Fi, because I currently have my printer on the Ethernet port that we have up here. There is one over there, I suppose. No, we'll just use Wi-Fi, because I think most people will probably be using this for Wi-Fi anyway, and Ethernet's a bit of a cheat. We'll plug her in, stick some cartridges in it, and see if we can print out a picture. Failed to notice that originally. There's a little tray to catch your documents as they come out with an angular lip or whatever to catch it. Not too bad. We turn her on and we get a power light flashing. It says Canon. And there's movements. We're going to have to install the print cartridges to see how easy they are to install. Language selection. English is good. Set ink tank. Open the cover. Please wait a while. Not a minute, but a while. Install the following ink tank. Y. I'm hoping Y means yellow. So we're going to have a quick look at one of the ink tanks before we stick it in. There's obviously a chip there. There's a chip there, and then that's where the ink comes out, I'm guessing, and that's where it might get refilled. I don't know. There's a level there. That looks like a bit of a level, doesn't it? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It reminds me of an old data tape from back in the day. They put so much effort into these little tanks. You think the ink was worth something. Also doesn't feel like it's entirely full. If we let that fall, there's no ink up here. I don't know if you can see it in this light very well because of the white cover. But it looks like the ink is maybe to about there. Obviously you can hear it sloshing about in there because there is ink. But I wouldn't say there's too much. Right. Ah, okay. So there's a little loading bay here that you slide it down and push it in. And it's spring loaded. Okay, now it's looking for black. Again, it's the same style of cartridge, just two essentially fused together. Sloshing about again. See if we can see. I guess we can't see it as quite as easily on this one as we could on the yellow. But again, it doesn't feel like it's jam-packed full of ink. But then of course you need the air to keep the ink flowing or something like that. Not to make you have to buy one slightly quicker. Again, down the loading ramp, push her in, spring loaded, done. And hit OK. I was looking for cyan. Same as the yellow. Can't see anything there. Load her up, push her in. And finally, magenta. I'm just thinking, is there, you couldn't accidentally install them like that. There'd have to be something wrong with you if you did. So yeah, there's only one way to put them in. Okay. Alright, front cover is open. Close the cover. Processing. Now obviously it's going to have to take a while to get this all running through. It says cleaning about 7 minutes. So we'll come back in about 7 minutes and see what this is like. Okay, so here we are back. So here we are. We have put through we put the ink in. It said 7 minutes to do that. So now it's asking to align the heads and to place some A4 paper, into the paper tray. Right. So we actually have to extend it in order to get the A4 paper inside it. There are instructions on the bottom of the tray on how to do that. Just here. Okay, so we put the paper in, fanning it appropriately. And bring this in at the side just to make sure the paper is nice and secure inside it. Oops. Place the paper in, and it's sitting out ever so slightly because it's A4, just to collect some dust here. But I guess you could do that to protect the paper a little more. Nicely thought out, actually. I haven't seen one that does that before. One of the other ones I have just collects dust. So that's a bit of a dust tray. Yeah, okay. We'll hit Printhead Alignment required. Processing will take about 3 minutes. Obviously we'll get some test sheets out, we'll have a look at those. This has been printed on fairly decent quality paper, not Tesco's finest or anything. It's I think it's Xerox. HP actually, HP paper. It's worth pointing out that this printer is a high volume printer and it can take up to 250 sheets of paper in the cassette here, which it brags about on the side of the box. It brags that it can do 15 colour pages in a minute and 23 mono or black and white pages a minute, which is pretty good. Okay, so that has successfully done its print test. It's all, or head test, it's all black and white. It is now saying, register for more information. Register cassette 1 paper, A4 plain paper. Now it's asking to connect to the wireless network, and we're going to dare to try to use a phone to print to this, because printing from a PC is so old hat. It's got Google built into it, so printing is simple as. Okay, select setup method, set from PC, set from a PC, etc. Set on a printer, on the printer. Okay, we'll go with the printer.
Do you want to connect via an access point? Yes. Searching for an access point. Right, the problem is here now that it is looking for WPS and only WPS when setting up the Wi-Fi. There isn't WPS in the access point in my little office here, which is a bit of a pain. So I decided to go through the PC side of setting up. And it just says refer to manual. And we come back to our printer levels. I guess that means we're going to have to go with an Ethernet cable in order to connect to it to set up the Wi-Fi. Okay, so as there's no Ethernet cable provided, I have one here. That is going to be a pain for someone who doesn't have WPS on their router or access point and has to then run out and get an Ethernet cable or relocate the printer closer to a computer with a shorter Ethernet cable. Okay, so I managed to print this out as we got it connected to the LAN, and I'm just going to scan the QR code, nicely scanned, to add it to my Google Cloud print profile. Okay, so we're going to add this to the Google Cloud print, having moved through the settings on here many times. You have to disable wireless in order to get the wired connection to work, and then we're connected to the LAN. Obviously this is so much easier if you have a router with WPS. Okay, so that has now been added, and then this QR code will stop being valid, so if you try and use it yourself it won't work by the time this video was posted. And we're going to go on to Google Photos, and we'll just select, there's a picture on my phone of a tablet okay, it's the Samsung Galaxy Tab 8.4, and that's a picture of Cat Mahoney's Samsung Galaxy Tab 8.4. Thought that was funny. Right, so we'll print that. It's worth noting at this point that I've printed, well, I've had to print this twice, and then the network configuration page, and that, and all of the ink tanks are sitting at 3/4 full. Okay, so we had to go into the App Store and pick up the Canon Print service. So that's detected the printer. I should now be able to go into my photos, take that picture that I wanted to print. We'll go to print. Saved PDF, or it shows all the printers here that we can use. It's picked up, oh, Google Print has picked up all those other ones. So we're going to print to the iB4050 series. Paper size is A4, orientation portrait. More options. There's not too much in the way of being able to select, quality of print or whatever, but you can print the paper size. Okay, copies 1 and print. The thing I like about this is I've been using this on my HP for a while, and I've been able to print out stuff at home whenever I've been out and about. If someone sent me a PDF, or a courier sends me a attachment for the front of a package, I can print it out at home, send it to, or get my wife to run upstairs to the printer, pick it up, stick it to the package, and the courier can then pick it up. How nice. So this is a photograph taken on the Galaxy Note 4, so it should be fairly good quality in low level light settings, but coming out here on an A4 sheet, so the print quality isn't going to be fantastic. I don't have any photo paper here at the moment to be able to test this on. Okay,
So that didn't take too long to print out. It's a very full colour image. Obviously I've picked it up a wee bit too soon. It's still damp. You can see very easily that there are lines from the rollers inside and from the inkjets. But other than that, it's not a bad image. It's not the greatest example of a picture to print. However, it works very well. For the money, I would be very satisfied at £89 for this unit, for what it does. That is very nice for a wireless inkjet printer. The ink is still showing at 3/4 full. I'm wondering if we can get some statistics up here, or do we have to install the we might have to install a CD, or the drivers off the CD. However, I'm printing out some information here regarding the ink. After printing one large photograph, it will tell us what types of ink to use. Handy. But it actually handles the paper very well. I've been noticing on some of my work printers that they come out quite battered. There is a bit of a crease there, but that might have been for me putting it in. And that was printed in an instant. This only took maybe about 30 seconds. So all in, the iB4050 looks to be a fairly decent device, especially for the money. It's big, it's bulky, it does seem that it might be slightly larger than it needs to be, whilst not being an all-in-one. It doesn't have a scanner in it. It is just purely a printer. We've seen smaller printers that can achieve that kind of image quality on a standard piece of paper, and Canon are no strangers to being able to make devices smaller and smaller. From setting this up, turning it on, it took a wee while to actually get it up and running. The WPS is obviously a bit of an issue, and it's a bit of a crying shame, because I would really like to be able to just get this up and running out of the box without having to jump through certain hoops. The WPS obviously helps that, but not everyone has it. I do have it on every other router in the house, or access point in the house, just not the one that's in this room in my particular office. Maybe that's something I should see to in the future. Aside from jumping around with the network settings, trying to get it from wireless onto wired, I quite like this printer. It's not much to look at. It does have a specific design to it that, whilst pleasing up here, does tend to get away from it down here. Other printers that you'll see on the shelf will look a lot better, but then this is designed to go into a home office, so they're not really going to pick a particularly decorative printer. You'd have to pay a good deal more to get one that looks the biz and has angles and jets and all that kind of thing on it. Everything seems to be here that you would need, aside from, given the bulk of the printer, the size of the printer, having to have this drawer sitting out in order to incorporate A4 paper is a little bit of an inconvenience. And it may get in the way, especially if you need to access the lower one. So those two jutting out does take away significantly from the design aesthetics, considering the distance from here to here is almost 2 feet. There could have been a better way for the printer, even just a side loader or something like that, but then you're getting into bigger money. So yeah, Canon's done a nice job here. It's big, it's black, it's bulky, but it wouldn't look out of place in a home office. I can't say it'll replace my Hewlett-Packard OfficeJet Pro, given that it doesn't do as much as that, but then for £90 you're not going to get everything as higher quality as this might be. This is obviously a higher quality printer at a lower price, rather than being a lower quality printer plus a lower quality scanner at the same price. So nice one, Canon. It's a decent device. You can pick it up from Ebuyer. I'll attach some links below in the video description and on tracyandmatt.co.uk of where you can get it from. And take time to peruse the different options that Canon have, because this might not be the most ideal for you. There are a few different ones with a few different design aesthetics and obviously a slightly different DPI or maybe just even a smaller printer altogether. Maybe you do want a scanner and are prepared to sacrifice a little bit of image quality for that scanner. Or you might want an SD card reader somewhere packaged onto it, because that's something that this doesn't have either. However, with the Google Cloud Print, Dropbox and Google Drive, whilst it is an extra step, it does allow you a little bit of flexibility when it comes to sources for your print to come from. And increasingly we're noticing that printers are moving away from just having a standard connection directly to a computer, which is nice. So check back on tracyandmatt.co.uk for further unboxings and reviews and slight opinions on various bits of tech being released over the next few weeks. Okay, take care now.